the way. We're going to have to hold that thought because we are into the match. FaZe starting off on the CT side of Mirage and Luminosity on the T side, and looks like Luminosity want to take all of the footfall towards that B bomb site.
Just being held by Kremen. He will get shot in the face. Glock won't kill him from that range. Showtime's being picked off though. Carrigan still around this short pillar, trying to reposition. He's got his reload in already. His teammate's still alive, but Carrigan will be the first one to drop. 4 on 4 now. Finally, Kremen is dispatched of. Guardian holding an angle, making sure no one makes their way over towards the bench.
Very tentative retake attempt here. Rain clearing out the apartments. Still one more player to go though, as he does try to check both angles. Unsure where the next player will be hiding. Guardian will be trying to create some space there with a frag onto Yell as he makes his way forwards now into the 2v2. And still quite a lot of time here for FaZe to find a defuse. Now it's just down to PKL. Into the 1v1 he'll go as he takes down Guardian. The next engagement found, but Nico confidently steps out into the frag. Beautifully done by FaZe. And they will start off very well indeed into Mirage. Into the first game of this finals here at Wembley at Season 5. Or for the Season 5 finals at Wembley.
Marvellous. That's the start they needed, start they wanted. Kremen might be playing close range with the MP9. The rest of the team on rifles. They're up against 3 Deagles and 2 Glocks. So we would like to see a disciplined team use range to their advantage, as Nico does, kicking things off well. He will have a look towards the connector position, but other than that, we see Rain playing around triple, so towards the back of A. Guardian having a look-see. Everybody but Guardian on a helmet, so Guardian has to be careful. Although, he'll either get headshot and live from a Glock, or get headshot and die from a Deagle.
Taking it real slow. Nico will have a poke, have a prod. He'll peruse.
A gander.
Through middle. And he will find one. Looks like things will be going pretty well here for FaZe. According to plan, more or less. Nico perhaps lacking a bit of patience there. Thinks it's safe, but it's not. But it will be once again now as the rest of the frags are cleaned up by FaZe. 2-0 for them. And we'll get the full buy from Luminosity, and it'll be interesting to see exactly as to how they want to start off this Mirage T side of theirs. They can have good T sides, but it really depends on whether or not they can find that groove. Luminosity very momentum based. Let's see if they can find that groove against FaZe here.
He's moving up towards top mid. Will be a delayed advance. Maybe seeing what FaZe might have in store for them. And there is a flashbang, 3 players top mid now. We've got a lurker towards the ramp and 1 person in B, so it's not clear just where Luminosity might want to play at the moment, which side it might want to head towards. The bomb is in B apps, but it can be rotated in either direction. Seems FaZe maybe expecting an early B, had a 3rd and maybe a 4th person over there, but they've gone to a more traditional setup now.
I really like how FaZe are conserving their utility. They know that for Luminosity, that's in this round, they can't have too much utility and also have the AK. So by playing a very slow round like this, FaZe are trying to exhaust all of the utility from Luminosity and to be able to then have that utility advantage when Luminosity finally pick a destination. And it looks as though FaZe have gathered a good amount of information so far. You can see Nico will get that flash from Guardian. Good enough for the peek onto Steel in middle. And that's going to trigger the push here for Luminosity. They have to go now, but another one from atop the smoke from Rain, and that will really stifle the effort of Luminosity as they continue to make their way forward. And Nico, in pure Nico fashion, will finish off the round. Beautiful 4K from him.
Very nice stuff by Nico. Have not really been tested yet, FaZe, from the point of view of the stand-in. So we'll have to see how that continues to play out. But again, it's a very stable beginning for the FaZe clan. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kills so far for Luminosity. Some of which would have come in a pistol, of course. So let's see how this continues.
And this arguably would be the best way for them to start off a Mirage. You know, they get that CT side, of course, and the pistol victory. And, you know, you've got Kroman. He's playing B. It's very hard to abuse that position unless you've got someone who's sort of Stewie caliber that's very, very good at playing the mind games on the apartments. And Kroman is a very good player. It's not as though he's a weak player, per se. So Kroman can play in isolation in that position very effectively, and FaZe can sort of play business as usual in their regular positions around that. So I do like how they're handling this so far, as we see Croman actually playing a short peek there. And they'll clean up the pistols fairly simply. There we go, that's a word. Nico continuing the tapping action. Nico's looking sharp so far, James. A sharp instrument.
It has to be sharper now. It's buy time for both teams once again. There it is, Steel, formerly of Liquid, on the Luminosity roster now. Right then, what do they have for us? 5 AK-47s. No AWP in this round. It would have been AWP no Kevlar for Yell, which he's not shy to do, but seems he might have more respect than that for FaZe. And here is the charge that maybe Luminosity were looking for in a previous round. There are flashbangs here, and it's 2 for Nico again, looking for the taps onto Yell, and of course he delivers, and that's the bomb spotted. They don't need to defend the bomb in that position in a 5 versus 2. They can move back again to a more traditional setup and just allow Luminosity to come to them at this point. Nico's looking for even more.
Yeah, he's already got 13 kills in 5 rounds, so he's definitely confident to try to get some more there. Looking really good at the moment. However, Luminosity taking advantage here. They do capitalize on perhaps what one could consider an overextension here or there from FaZe, and they bring it to the 2 versus 3. And with a minute to play with and all this space on the map to work from as well, and with the bomb in a recoverable position, Luminosity absolutely are in with a chance here. PKL could certainly get some good information and make some plays here, but Showtime must win this 1v1, and he will. Very nice adjustment, very rapidly onto Croman to make sure that the bomb is in safe hands, as he will now make his way towards the A site. And FaZe try to work it out, and Guardian gets just a slither of information. He knows one player moving towards jungle, and the other player unknown, but Guardian, he misses the shot. That's got to be disappointing for him. Now down to Carrigan in the 1v2 retake. What an effort so far from PKL and Showtime.
Carrigan has no kit, but perhaps there is one to be collected. Showtime just moving into position now, but he's past the angle already. He will be the initial peeker. Seems PKL will have this one in the bag. Gets his bell rung, but that is the first round on the board for Luminosity. Surviving with 2 players, stealing an AWP. Can they capitalize on what they've achieved here in this round? There's still a fair amount of money for FaZe, so there will be a buy. Croman dropping the AWP for Guardian.
Yeah, and just as far as confidence, like a situation that can create confidence, a 2v4 victory there for Luminosity, that is pretty massive. So PKL Showtime definitely going to be feeling it moving forwards. Now we'll have to see whether or not FaZe can recover. They've got a decent amount of utility to back up their weapons, but a fast round here from Luminosity. The Pulp Flash tossed into Connector. Now down to Guardian, but he'll get smoked away. It's Croman delivering death and destruction from that short position that will level the playing field as Guardian gets himself into action. There's a connection, and he's going to find the bomb as well.
Standing on the bomb, you're picked off in CT spawn. That leaves PKL alone. No kills in this round. Have they identified where he is? Doesn't seem so. Jumping in the window now. You can see, I think Croman was on the... oh no, it wasn't him, sorry. Alright, so he's in CT spawn. He's got over a minute on the clock. Now, what positions do FaZe consider potentially compromised? Is jungle one of these positions? Carrigan moving to check CT spawn at the moment. Does Guardian have the angle? No, he's in Connector. Carrigan probably won't expect this jungle position, but where is Croman looking? There's a diagonal look across the site, front of A, into jungle, and there is PKL picked off 5-1. That's the reset Luminosity did not want.
Yeah, that's quite the rude awakening. Now, it always, goes down to the call. Do you think the call was good? And I don't think there's anything wrong with the call. They went for this shock and awe style play through Connector. It can be very powerful if you get the opening frags, but we saw it was Croman who had an angle and sprayed through the smoke, I believe, there on Catwalk to get a double kill that actually cost Luminosity there. So in reality, I think the call was pretty good. I think they just got a bit unlucky, and this is how it's going to turn out for them. This could get really bad.
Spotted the numbers moving into the B bomb site. Molotov will delay some, and that will allow the rotation to be closer. Doesn't end well for Carrigan though. Just the 1 kill in this situation, and now Luminosity could really capitalize. Can they pick up some more rifles? Rain pushing through the window, but he's very heavily tagged. Might need his teammates to do the work for him. Nico making it slightly easier, even more so Nico, good for the 3K. That could have been a disaster for FaZe. The bomb was planted for Luminosity, which is a bonus, as is the 2 kills they got on the B bomb site. We would have expected that to start better for FaZe, but it did finish pretty good.
Yeah, and Nico swooping in to save the day once more. 16 kills, as you guys can see over on the left of your screens. That's not bad for a mere 7 rounds. I think he'll take that. So we'll see Luminosity back into a position where they have weapons. They've got this. I think is perhaps maybe the most utility that they would have been able to field so far. And with the AWP on Yell as well, there's lots of opportunity for them to try to create opportunities here. And Yell, that timing from the pop flash from a teammate there, from Croman presumably, indeed, on the B-bomb site for Karrigan's peak was absolutely perfect. Nekis, though, does find a kill into middle. Aggression here from FaZe.
Karrigan knows he's legged Showtime, sorry. Trying to finish him off with the nade doesn't work, but there is the bomb. Showtime last seen in the B apps. We'll have a rough idea of where one of these players is, but where is the second one? 4 versus 2 for FaZe. The bomb in top mid, but as you can see, they're not massively concerned with defending the position of the bomb. Holding their position around the map may be better for them in general. There is a smoke which is becoming more common now for the CTs to play behind, but that time no one was holding Croman's back.
Yeah, that was a decent play for information, which they definitely want. They've got to respect Luminosity's ability here, but Nico is going to find his way at Luminosity as they try to push forwards past the catwalk position, but Nico makes it impossible. Another 3K for him, 19 frags now for Nico as he once again cleans up the stragglers towards the end of the round, and Luminosity cannot make it work so far. And it all started with FaZe just having that just simplistic pop flash play to push, or rather take advantage of a T-AWPer at the beginning of the round on the B apartments. And of course, you know, Karrigan's in there with the frag. So really nice work. It's the simple things done well that can really make the difference in Counter-Strike. And so far, FaZe are doing just that.
We have seen quite a few lopsided first halves today, although it is not necessarily a indication of what might happen in a second, but Luminosity need more than 1 round, that is for sure. Didn't bode so well for G2 in a previous match. Karrigan with an easy first shot, and not being blind, he knows that no one else is there, but has he pulled rotation? It won't matter because it's Rain's turn to clean up. M4A4s all day here on FaZe. He's got the bullets for the action. Steel will look to catch somebody restlessly out of position, perhaps, to get something out of this round.
Yeah, it's so far looking really nice. Those frags from Rain were very satisfying. Just sort of how he is basically perfect. I suppose that is just satisfying to watch. Rain when he's just snapping onto those bodies. 8-1 is the score now as FaZe look very well prepared for pretty much everything. I mean, if we again look at how they anticipated in that previous round, we saw a defensive positioning from the AWPer. So instead of having Karrigan close, ready for a pop flash to go aggressive for a peek on apartments, instead he plays further back, picks up the player that was supposed to create the guess, or rather, sorry, create the illusion that it was going to be a push onto the B side to then allow an easier time for the players pushing onto A. And instead, FaZe, ready, they got the AWPer in shop, gets the kill, Rain sitting there, doesn't have to move, there's no panic, gets 3 kills immediately on the A site. Right now, FaZe have understood exactly what Luminosity are doing from the beginning to the end.
Back into the action we go. Just that one solitary round in the middle of the action so far. 2 sniper rifles now for FaZe. Yell continues with his, not quite getting the bunny hops that he can be notorious for though. So no early peek onto ramp. He will hold close to the smoke. He's going all the way. And he will not last very long at all. And maybe this round won't either. This is record time almost.
Yeah, definitely not looking too hot right now for Luminosity. Every single attempt so far being just crushed. And again, if you just look at the anticipation from FaZe, whether it was a read or not, they had the perfect setup at the beginning of the round. They have Rain playing really close to that smoke on slope. And if you have the pressure as quickly as we saw it from Luminosity that's that's where you want a player, because he can prevent anything from happening there, and it creates very awkward engagements for the T's as they try to breach onto the A site for contact plays. So again, FaZe still finding perfect answers every single buy round of Luminosity. I mean, what do you do against that, James? It's got to feel hopeless when everything you do is just like, well, they just have the perfect setup to deal with everything we're doing.
Solution is you take blood off to land. That's what it is. No defense, I can't break that. 4 deagles and a CZ75. Steel has 2 flashes and a smoke. Where do you put the smoke in this position? Do you put it in one of the arches towards short? Do you put it towards the windows to stop getting picked off in the cross? Or do you put it deeper towards short? I don't know. Maybe the window. But they know a player is near the balcony. Do their best to catch him, but now that's the bomb lost. 3 versus 5 in this this pistol round for Luminosity. This is looking pretty rough at the moment.
Yeah, you can see that FaZe read that play, or that's a very fortunate second kill from Rain, but I think FaZe read the play to be effectively sort of a B rush that sort of failed, so Nico was assuming that the rest of the players would come from underpass. He was incorrect. But I do like how, again, Karrigan has been playing with Croman on the B-bomb site. If you're looking at this FaZe lineup, you're probably thinking, how can we sort of exploit the weaknesses of, a stand-in playing for them. And so far, you have this dynamic of the AWPer going towards the B apartments to support Croman every so often. Not all the time. Sometimes Karrigan's playing the shop. Sometimes he's playing close with Croman flashing in. Sometimes he's just holding the angles. Sometimes you've got Croman up there. It's very varied, and because they can play 2 AWPs, one at either site, it really creates this spot where you can't really abuse Croman. You can't abuse him, and Croman has pretty fast rotation times, and his rifling's been very good so far with that AK-47. He's been looking very sharp and is poised to do FaZe proud in the first game.
If it continues this way, I don't know how much we can take from this. Guardian not shy to change his position. Expecting ooh, nice. Expecting a later push, perhaps. Looking to take them by surprise. Surprise! Look at this. They're pushing. They've got 2 guys in mid with AWPs. Rain pushing Palace. And it's just Croman to sit in B while the rest of the team rack up the stats.
That's beautiful there from Rain. Again, if you look at the formation of FaZe, they have this really big mid presence. And then Rain takes the spawn that he has, which was forward, I believe, into a deep position on the apartments, which is really strong. If there's no like lurker there, it's pretty telling what the T's are doing. And now Rain's taking this crazy off angle there. You just don't expect the player to be there, and it makes the situation even worse. Not only does he get a kill, there's critical damage. Clean snap from Guardian for the follow-up. Despite the return, Yell really has a lot to do. There's a lot going on here for FaZe. 3 players remaining, and they bear down upon that A site, which looks like it's going to be very difficult. The lines that Yell's going to have to cross to break it are pretty brutal between the likes of Nico and Karrigan, and he's going to go back. He feels the flank, James. He senses it.
But he's got 20 seconds, so what is his plan? Does he go for a potential 2 versus 1? 15 seconds. He needs to get at least 1 frag and hope no one is CT to plant default at this point. But with 10 seconds on the clock and Croman through B apps, they know it is an A save, and here they come jumping around, and he's missed a shot. There goes it all. The AWP is lost. And maybe with that, are Luminosity's chances in this first half at the very least. Although they're close to a buy. We'll see if they go for it. 3 people can buy. What you would normally buy at least. And yeah, so Steel will have a UMP. And Yell with a CZ.
It's kind of crazy because so far we're seeing pretty much everybody from FaZe doing a fantastic job, including Croman, who's been really sharp. And I mean, there's just nowhere to turn from that perspective if you're Luminosity. Luminosity looking a little bit dejected so far, deflated, going for a fast play to try to make good of this situation. Explosiveness to break the stagnancy, but it looks like that stagnancy is only going to be getting worse here as Guardian and Croman and Rain all getting on the defense. Fast pace doesn't work, the slow pace doesn't work. They try to get the picks. They just can't find a single way in.
FaZe like a swarm of locusts at the moment. Everything is getting eaten. 12-1, not much else to say really. Where are Luminosity? They don't seem to have turned up just yet. Steel with 2 kills, Showtime with 4 kills, Nekezia with 5 kills. So maybe downstairs Mr. Jacob is shaking his head. Expects more from this team, and we have seen them go from strength to strength. We've seen the roster changes, and I think they're one of those teams who, against stronger opposition, maybe they show too much respect. But either way, whether they're at stand or not, they are being absolutely dominated at the moment. Some people pay for this kind of action, Dan.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And Luminosity might be paying for it as well, because it's going to put them in a pretty desperate position in the groups. FaZe, maybe it'll be just a nice little calm, lovely little just walk through the park. And I mean, I was saying earlier, we never really see 16-0s, but I mean, you effectively, I mean, this is effectively right now is shaping up like that, just as you mentioned, complete domination. And one of the problems for Luminosity here as well is, of course, they start off with a poor economy and so on, so they always have to fight up against a fully equipped FaZe. But when your explosive players like Nekez, like Yell, aren't able to get in there and to find their form, or to be put in a position where they can do so, it's really hard. And they're going to go for an A set piece here and see if that will make a difference. Oh, that's a nice grenade. Meaty damage.
Smoke seems to dissipate. Will replenish. There is the bomb. There's all the information. Although Arrogant still holding for B. Starting to rotate now, but not required. 14-1. Not much to say for Luminosity. FaZe tearing out all the pages.
And one thing to note there as well is that Croman was playing the A bomb site, and he's been towards B pretty much every other round. So quite cool that they're mixing things up on, even when they're crushing their opponents, they're just mixing things up, which is really good to see. It's very important in my eyes, if you want to be considered a championship level team, to find ways to dominate your opponents, not just to beat them very comfortably, but to absolutely dominate them. So even when you're doing very well, you keep putting pressing down on that gas pedal. Either way, FaZe now on the T side, and we see a limited amount of utility. Looks like they want to get themselves towards the A bomb site with the splits.
Guardian's been... Guardian and Rain have been dropped P250s. Double raid boss. Let's see what it can do with it. Flashbang going towards CT. PK will be forced back. He'll completely concede the position, but he'll hold the corner. That is the only flash for FaZe, so CT push seems unlikely. Rain with the late flank. And Yell is looking for it, and he's found it. Ooh, a double flank Kremen there as well. All right then. 4 players coming in from A. From CTA. Now, how will this be identified? With frags, it seems. Guardian with P50, that extra range coming in very handy indeed. 3 versus 2, all of a sudden. 3 versus 1, and done. 15-1 match point for FaZe.
Yeah, looking like a bit of a no-show here so far for Luminosity. And again, for them, it's going to be all about creating a mental reset if they aren't able to somehow find a comeback off of a force buy hit. But if they do go down in this fashion against FaZe, again, it's got to be a story of it's okay. We had a bad start. It's an incredibly skilled team. There's a lot of individual skill that plays a part on this map. If we got a couple trades different earlier on, it could have been a very different game. To sort of move on here. The CZs are doing some damage so far, but nothing Nico can't handle.
Picks off Nekez around a connected position, but his range is not ideal with this weapon for the short area, as well as because he knows these players are on a force by Yell capitalizing for getting traded. Guardian still alive with 20 HP. Now PKO and Steel remain. Rain spotted one of them. UMP spray dragging the mouse down, leaving PKL on the wrong side of the map. 2 players in the middle areas. What can he really look to get out of this? You have to assume the MAC-10 is in mid rather than the AK that was picked off earlier on. And that's that. 16-1, FaZe. Quick in, quick out.
Yeah, I didn't even see how many frags Nico ended up on. He got a 4K at the end there. He disconnected from the server so quickly to get a chance to even